President Joe Biden holds his first press conference in 65 days, and if you stayed awake throughout, it's probably because you were doing something else. Hey guys, my name is Jason Wesley, and this is not a podcast. So, after many requests from the media and other politicians, and pretty much America, Joe Biden finally holds a press conference his 65th day as president, and it was underwhelming to say the least. Now, of the 15 presidents over the past 100 years, all but Biden have held a press conference within 33 days of being sworn into office. Donald Trump did it within 27 days, and Barack Obama did it in 20 days. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell said he and the president haven't even had a face-to-face meeting since the inauguration.
When will you be at the White House? When have you been invited to meet President Biden?
I haven't been invited to the White House. So far, this administration is not interested in doing anything on a bipartisan basis in the political center. They'd be more than happy to pick off a few of our members and do what they would like to do. But there's been no effort whatsoever by the president or the administration to do anything in the political center.
Let me try again here.
It's been trying to jam through everything on the hard left. You saw that on the $1.9 trillion COVID package, only 1% of which had to do with vaccines and only 9% of which had to do with health care. The rest of it was a left-wing wish list.
Now, White House Press Secretary Jen Circleback Psaki said it was because of COVID.
Curious, because I know previously Leader McCarthy had said that he had tried to reach out to the White House to get an invitation here. Does the president plan to have some sort of big, meeting with leaders from across the aisle where we would see photos of them together and things like that?
I'm sure he will. We obviously have been limited on COVID to any events in the East Wing, and at this point we'd be very much in the Easter egg roll preparations, which of course we will not be, but obviously more important, substantive, vital meetings than that.
Even though President Biden got his second COVID vaccine at the beginning of January before he was even inaugurated. And speaking of COVID, Ted Cruz was asked to put on a mask by a reporter that didn't quite feel that safe. And here's what he had to say.
Good afternoon. Yeah, when I'm talking to the TV camera, I'm not going to wear a mask. And all of us have been immunized. So you're welcome to step away if you like. The whole point of a vaccine, CDC guidance, is what we're following.
Now, we all know there have been many times that President Biden didn't really know what was going on, and he would ask his handlers, what's next?
And Ron, who am I turning this over to?
Well, thank you very much, Mr. President. I think it's time for the press, our friends in the press to leave now. Thank you.
Mr. President.
And then if I could just...
Press, let's go. We're moving out. Press, let's go. Press, let's go, you guys. Come on, press. We're going to move out. Let's go, press.
Thank you all. I really mean it. From the bottom, I want to thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm happy to take questions if that's what I'm supposed to do, Nance, whatever you want me to do.
So anyway, President Biden holds this press conference and continually loses his train of thought.
So the best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway, we're going to get a lot done. And
now, it wouldn't be so bad if that was the only time it happened.
They sort of got to get out of their system. This is a, well, look, just when I came to the United States Senate 120 years ago.
What did you say, nigga?
Just when I came to the United States Senate 120 years ago.
And apparently the GOP-led efforts to tighten voting laws in various states to build trust and integrity in our voting system makes Jim Crow look like Jim Eagle.
Officials. I'm talking about voters. Voters. And so I'm convinced that we'll be able to stop this because it is the most pernicious thing. This makes Jim Crow look like Jim Eagle. I mean, this is gigantic, what they're trying to do.
Many times he was asked very specific questions and would just trail off and start talking about things that had nothing to do with the question.
You had said to stay tuned for actions that you might take on gun control.
Wondering if you've made a decision either about sending the manufacturer liability bill that you had promised on day one to Capitol Hill, or executive actions like going after ghost guns or giving money to cities and states to battle gun control.
All the above. It's a matter of timing. As you've all observed, successful presidents, better than me, have been successful in large part because they know how to time what they're doing, order it, decide on priorities, what needs to be done. The next major initiative is, and I'll be announcing it Friday in Pittsburgh in detail, is to rebuild the infrastructure, both physical and technological infrastructure of this country, so that we can compete and create significant numbers of really good paying jobs. Really good paying jobs. And some of you have been around long enough to know that used to be a great Republican goal and initiative. I still think the majority of the American people don't like the fact that we are now ranked, 85th in the world in infrastructure. I mean, look, the future rests on whether or not we have the best airports that can accommodate air travel, ports that you can get in and out of quickly so businesses decide. Some of you, if you're ever local reporters and you found your governor or mayor trying to attract business to your community, what's the first thing the business asked? What's the closest access to an interstate highway? How far am I from freight rail? Is the water available? Is enough water available for me to conduct my business? All the things that relate to infrastructure. We have somewhere, I asked the staff to write it down for me, and they did, not for this, but for a longer discussion. We have somewhere in terms of infrastructure.
What does infrastructure and jobs have to do with gun control anyway? Now, when Jen Psaki was asked about why the press couldn't have access to border facilities to report on the border crisis, here was her response.
Our reporters used to be able to get ride-alongs during the Trump administration, and you all came in and promised to be the most truthful and transparent administration, and you all, oversee the Department of Homeland Security. So if you all wanted to grant access to the press, couldn't you just tell DHS to do it?
Again, we fully support transparency, and I would encourage you to talk to the Department of Homeland Security about any requests you have for press access.
And when Biden was asked at the press conference when the press was going to have access to the border facilities, he said, I don't know.
Given the conditions that were just laid out at the migrant facilities at the U.S. border, will you commit to allowing journalists to have access to the facilities that are overcrowded moving forward?
I will commit when my plan very shortly is underway to let you have access to not just them, but to other facilities as well.
How soon will journalists be able to have access to the facilities? We've obviously been allowed to be inside one, but we haven't seen the facilities in which children are packed together to really give the American people a chance to see that. Will you commit to transparency on this issue?
I will commit to transparency. And as soon as I am in a position to be able to implement what we're doing right now, and one of the reasons I haven't gone down, I have all my chief folks have gone down, is I don't want to become the issue. I don't want to be, bringing all the Secret Service and everybody with me to get in the way. So this is being set up, and you'll have full access to everything once we get this thing moving.
Okay, just to be clear, how soon will that be, Mr. President?
I don't know, to be clear.
President Biden was given a list of names to call on with pictures on it of the people he was calling, which he would do after stumbling over his responses.
Let me get here. Okay. Cecilia Vega. Okay. Hang on. Sorry. Oh, Miss Kim. And I think that I got one more question here. And Janet from Univision.
Now, it's clear that he's not running the show. He's not the one that's in charge. What's his administration hiding? Because it doesn't appear very unifying or transparent.
Will you be mine?